baby.
Oh, I feel like preaching in this place. That's what the fuck I'm talking about. God, that's what I'm talking about.
All right, what's going on, good people? I'm here. I'm not going to be here too long, but I got to touch on this topic because, quite frankly, it's getting out of hand. And so I just want to clear something up for the people out there. And we're not even going to waste no time. I'm going to show you the inspiration for this video. Then we're going to talk about it. Check this out.
As we give today's tithes and offering, we are believing God for jobs and better jobs, raises and bonuses, benefits, business prosperity, sales and commission, settlement and estates, inheritance, interest and income, rebates and return, checks in the mail, better yet, checks in my hand, gifts and surprises. Finding money, bills paid off, gas demolished, royalty receiving, money paid back, loans paid off. I shall lend and not borrow. I shall prosper and be in good health. I shall give and be blessed. It's offering time, and I will.
You see, stuff like that is why I'm making this video. Stuff like that because, come on, man. That's just ridiculous. But let me get something out the way early. There is nothing wrong. As a matter of fact, I would encourage you to financially support your church. If you are attending a church and they are pouring into you and you are growing in the word and they're teaching you and you got a nice community of believers and you can see visibly what they do for the body in that church and the community and the class. If you can see that, I would say most definitely you should give financial contributions to your church if you feel as though your church is a blessing, right? And if you want to give 10%, if you want to give more than 10%, hey, more power to you. So I'm not saying don't give to the church. I'm not even saying don't tithe to the church. I'm not saying that at all. But what I'm saying is a lot of these pastors, these preachers are using the idea of tithing to scam people. And why do I say that? Well, it's based on that video I just played. It's very simple. Listen, first of all, in a lot of these churches, they have multiple offerings, right? So they have an offering before the sermon, and then after the sermon, they'll have another offering because you got to sow a seed, right? So they'll have like a tithe, offering, then you got to sow a seed, a jubilee seed, a turnaround seed, and then after the message, after the preaching goes on, if the word of God has blessed you, then you need to sow into this moment right now so God can do this and do that. That there's 20 people in here with $100, all that kind of stuff going on, right? That's what I'm talking about. So I just want to clear something up for you guys in general, because a lot of people are being taken advantage of. Nowhere in the Bible does it say that, if you give the church, you give the pastor 10% of your income, you're going to find money. Your bills are going to get paid off. You're going to get a raise on the job. It doesn't say that. It's not in there. And here's the crazy part. If you would just think logically, instead of giving the church money that you cannot afford to give because you have convinced yourself, or they have convinced you, that if you give the church this amount of money, then your bills are going to be paid off and you're going to get out of debt. It's like you're going to get a check in the mail. It's like, hold on. You have been blessed with a job that provides you with an income. So you already have checks coming in the mail, well, through direct deposit. Use that check in the mail, use that direct deposit to pay off the debt. Like, how is it? How are people not thinking about, like, you're not being logical? I'm going to not only give tithes and offerings, but I'm going to give this special seed because God is going to multiply this seed or bless this seed, and it's going to magically get me out of debt. No, that's not how it works. If God has blessed you with an income and he's blessed you with a mind, use that mind to create a budget and use that budget to use the money that you get from the job to pay off your debt. Like I was saying, oh, I'm gonna give the church, I'm gonna give the church this money, and I'm gonna magically get out of debt. No. God gave you the job and the income and a mind. You're supposed to put that together to figure out your own financial situation. Like, a lot of you are treating church like the lottery. I'm playing this number. That's why when the pastor says, oh, it's 10 people in here with $150, you go running up there with your $150 because you thinking you're going to hit the lottery. It don't work like that. Oh, I'm going to sow this Jubilee seed. I'm going to sow this mountain seed. I'm going to sow this seed. I'm going to sow that seed. And I'm going to get checks in the mail. And I'm going to find money. And I'm going to have money. Matter of fact, let me play it again.
As we give today's tithes and offering, we are believing God for jobs and better jobs, raises and bonuses, benefits, business.
I'm going to stop it right there. So the idea is I pay tithes and offerings, and then God is going to give me a job and a better job. Listen. It doesn't, like, come on, man. God has given you the activity of your limbs, a certain level of experience and education, and the fruits of the Spirit, which make you, more personable to other people. And you're supposed to use that to find your self-employment. And your Christian behavior and your hard work is supposed to lead you towards a bonus, a raise, or another job. Now, does God do supernatural things and bless people and help people out and do things for people? Absolutely. But it's not because you, quote unquote, sowed a seed. And I see Jasmine just gave $75 to the church. She sold her Jubilee seed. So let me give her a job and a better job and a raise and a bonus. No, that don't make sense. Listen to it again.
As we give today's tithes and offering, we are believing God for jobs and better jobs, raises and bonuses, benefits, business prosperity, sales and commission, settlements and estates, inheritance, interest and income, rebates and return, checks in the mail, better yet, checks in my hand, gifts and surprises, finding money, bills paid off, that's the mileage, royalty receiving, money paid back, loans paid off. I shall lend and not borrow. I shall prosper and be in good health. I shall give and be blessed. It's offering time, and I will.
All right, so once again, I'm gonna just make this as simple as possible. You cannot pay God for a blessing. As a matter of fact, don't we know of somebody in the Bible who wanted to pay for the anointing, and what was he told? You cannot pay for a blessing. That is unbiblical. The idea that you're going to give a tithe or an offering or sow a seed and all of a sudden you're going to get an inheritance. First of all, a lot of stuff don't even make sense because most of us don't even have any ancestors or grandparents or parents in our family that even have money like that for us to randomly get an inheritance. It doesn't work like that. You cannot pay for a blessing. You remember all the stuff he was saying? Checks in the mail, checks in my hand, finding money, gifts, rebates, bills paid off. Where in the Bible does it say that if you would give the church 10% of your income, all these different things are going to happen to you? Hey, but you know how these pastors get this scam to work? It's very simple how they do it. They get the scam to work because you see how financially successful a lot of them are. But you're not even thinking logically about how they became successful. Because what will happen is when every time it's time to give money, the preacher will give his personal testimony. I tried them for myself. I paid my tithes. I know it works. Listen, that pastor, any pastor that's doing this, they did not reach a level of financial success because they were paying tithes. I'm going to tell you exactly what happened. Because a lot of them are very charismatic or entertaining. They can throw on a good service, preach a entertaining word, have people do a good shout. They reach a certain level of popularity. And so their popularity within the Christian sphere enabled them to do things like start a podcast, write a book, have a conference, have a revival, be a guest host at other people's churches. Some of them make, gospel music. That's how they made their money. They get up there and say, "Oh, I give my tithes, and look where I'm at now. That's how I know it works." They are not in the financial situation that they are in because of tithes. They are in the financial place that they are in because they became a celebrity within the Christian sphere, and then they parlayed that into books, speaking fees, conferences, gospel albums, revivals, guest speaking at other people's churches, going to other people's conferences, getting paid to be there. In other words, these pastors, for the most part, became financially successful off of the backs of the saints. The saints always wanting to see them preach and always wanting to go to whatever conference they're at, and their numbers increasing is what drove. That's why, like, if you really think about it, a whole lot of these quote unquote pastors have their own church, but they always have different clips of themselves at somebody else's church. Do you think they're going to these other churches for free? Now, if it's a bigger church, they might be there for free. But if it's a church of the same size or smaller, do you think they're there for free? No. These conferences that these pastors are going to and these revivals that they're preaching at, do you think they are there for free? You already know the books and the tapes and all that stuff. You already know that's not free. And so that's how they made their money. They made their money by becoming a quote unquote Christian celebrity. But they're going to get in front of you and tell you, oh man, I started paying my tithes and all this stuff started to happen. No. Because once again, you cannot pay for a blessing. It doesn't work that way. And once again, I'm not saying you shouldn't contribute to the church. I'm not saying not to give 5%, 10, or more if you want to. All I'm saying is the idea that you're going to sow into church and it's going to lead to finding money in my hand, checks in the mail, debt paid off, jobs and better jobs, inheritance in the States, property. The Bible don't say that. And once again, if you want those things, guess what? God has given you an income, the activity of your limbs, and a sound mind. Use those things to create a budget and get yourself out of debt and do this and do like, once again, paying your tithes is not supposed to feel like you bought a lottery ticket and hopefully I hit the Mega Millions. It don't work like that. So I'm gonna play this one more time, come on.
As
Man.
we give today's tithes and offering, we are believing God for jobs and better jobs, raises and bonuses, benefits, business prosperity, sales and commission, settlements and estates, inheritance, interest and income, rebates and return, checks in the mail, better yet, checks in my hand, gifts and surprises, finding money, bills paid off, that's the mileage, royalty receiving, money paid back, loans paid off. I shall lend and not borrow. I shall prosper and be in good health. I shall give and be blessed. It's offering time and I will.
And what's crazy about a lot of these offering times is, in a lot of these churches, the offering time is getting longer and longer. The speeches and the declarations are getting long, and that some stuff like that. I've seen that more and more in a lot of different churches, to where when it's time to give an offering, they give these speeches of all these things that they're expecting because they gave money, and it's just like, once again, it's unbiblical. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying don't give money to the church. I'm saying don't give money to the church because you think if you give money to the church that you're going to get checks in the mail and bills paid off and money in your hand and estates and property and out of debt. And no, it don't work like that. So I give to the church. I'm not going to act like I give a whole bunch because I don't. But I give it because, hey, the church has bills. And I'm sitting up in here and it's the temperature is fine. The chairs are comfortable. The lights are on. I'm hearing a good word. This place has been a blessing to me. And so, yes, I contribute to that. But I'm not contributing because, oh man, the Lord said it's 100 people in here with $150. And if you sow this Jubilee seed, this mountain seed, this special seed right now, then all of a sudden you're going to get a check in the mail. No. That's what I'm saying. That stuff, it's a scam. It is not true. But what is true is my Cash App does work. My Super Chat does work. make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you send this to one of your Christian friends. And make sure that if they are giving and tithing, make sure they are doing so for the right reason. Like, I'm giving you some good information. So if you were to contribute, that would be for the right reason.
I need a dollar, that's what I need. Hey, hey.
It's funny I played that because truthfully, a lot of these churches, they should just get up there and say that, hey, I want some money. But instead, they sit up here telling you, oh, you're going to get jobs and better jobs and raises and bonuses and finding. Show me a scripture where it says that. They are lying to you. Make sure you hit the like button. But that's all I got for you, man. If you go into a church and it's offering time or it's after the sermon and they're telling you how you're supposed to sow this and give this because if you do this, God is going to do that, they're lying. If a pastor gets up there and says, you know what, I started tithing and I know it works for me personally, he's lying. Like I said earlier, these pastors are not becoming financially well off because they're paying tithes. They're becoming financially well off because they've become celebrities within the Christian world. And so now they're going to other people's churches, they're going to conferences, they're going to revivals, and they're going there for a fee. They're also creating content and getting paid off the content. A lot of them also have salaries from their church. All that money that they're collecting every week, some of that is going to salary. Then they're using that celebrity to do books and signings and all kinds of stuff. That's where the money is coming from. It's coming from the saints. But that's all I wanted to tell y'all, man.
We know that this is one of your all-time favorites.